What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NBA DFS contenders on FanDuel for Tuesday, January 12th. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. Finally, let me know in the comments section who are your favorite options on FanDuel for tonight's slate. Remember, the Heat Sixers game, not on the FanDuel slate. So this is a 5-gamer on FanDuel and a 6-gamer on DraftKings. We've got Lonnie Walker, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Cedi Osman, Karis LeVert, and Justin Holiday rounding out the bottom of my top 10. Who will be the favorites for Tuesday's slate? It's time to find out. First up, number 5, power forward eligibility, 9,200, DOMANTAS Sabonis. 49.8 fantasy point projection. You're looking for 54 at that price tag. I think he hits that goal 32% of the time. He's in the optimal 34% of the time. I am going with the assumption that Victor Oladipo will not play tonight. It's a back-to-back. I expect him to sit out for rest. Previous back-to-back, sat out as well. I think that's going to be the case moving on. In that scenario, Sabonis sees a bit of a usage bump. I've got him projected for 23.5 points, 14 boards, and 5.5 assists. Plus, Indiana's taking on Golden State. Golden State plays at one of the fastest paces in the league. The Pacers gain 5 additional possessions in this game. That's basically like giving Sabonis an extra 2 fantasy points. That's massive when you're projected for 49. 47.8 looks like a lot different, oddly enough. So he's normally a 1.2 fantasy point per minute guy. I'm bumping that up considerably. 1.36 in this game. That's a testament to the usage increase, the pace increase. Sabonis looks great, well worth the price tag. Get Domantas Sabonis in your lineups tonight on FanDuel, people. But it's not just Sabonis coming from the Pacers. Point guard eligibility on Malcolm Brogdon, 8,400, projected for about 45 fantasy points. You're looking for 51. He hits that goal 27% of the time, optimal lineup 35% of the time. Both he and Sabonis playing north of 36 minutes. I have them both in for 37. And everything that I just said about Sabonis works for Brogdon as well. Usage increase if Victor Oladipo is out. Projected for 23.5, almost 9 and 5. Huge boost up in his points per minute just because of the huge pace increase. Again, 5 additional possessions in this game. You can't beat it. I love getting to the Pacers. They run a pretty tight rotation as well. Might open up a little bit just because of Oladipo being out, but you got to feel really good getting onto their core like 6 or 7 guys because they're all going to play 24 plus minutes, and that's always helpful, especially in a pace-up game. At number 3, I'm going LaMarcus Aldridge. Power forward eligibility, 7,200. Had a really nice game his last time out. Projected for 40 fantasy points, goal of 47. Hits that goal 24% of the time, optimal lineup 36% of the time. 34 minutes, big usage bump when DeMar DeRozan is off the floor, which he will be today. Projected for 22 and 8. It's a really pedestrian line, but I guess against Oklahoma City, I think Aldridge's game really fits. It's mostly a neutral pace spot. Oklahoma City's defense, nothing you're really worried about. Aldridge is basically a 1.1 fantasy point per minute guy. And from the usage bump with DeMar out, you give him another 1/10 of a point. So he's basically 1.2. That is all I need at 7,200. I think he plays the full freight at center. Jake Puddle just getting the scraps on the back end. LaMarcus Aldridge at 7,200. He's been sleeping through most of this year. I think he wakes up here. Oh boy, here we go. If you need some value, LYLES looks to be that guy. Power forward eligibility, 3,600, projected for about 25 fantasy points, goals 35. Now he's not getting to 35 all that often, 7% of the time, but you can make do. Shows up in the optimal lineup 36% of the time. I'm giving him 30 minutes. He played a lot more than that in the last one, got the start. Minimal usage, 12%, 9, 8, and 2 as a baseline projection, but you're not looking for all that much out of LYLES. This is a minutes play at a salary $100 above the minimum. Again, you're not worried about Oklahoma City's defense. They're not playing a college team. I would project Trey Lyles for even more fantasy points. He's like a 0.85 guy, and that's what he is in this game. As long as Trey Lyles is starting, you should expect monster minutes again. And at that point in time, you're happy to jam in a guy that's only $100 above that $3,500 minimum price tag. You can't beat the value on Lyles. Now, before we close this out with my number 1 contender, one last reminder. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and the biggie, follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. You got to get these updates. I'm not on live before lock tonight, So I have nothing but time on my hands to make sure that I can get them out to you guys. I believe lock is at 7 on DraftKings and 7:30 on FanDuel, so I'll try to coordinate as much as I possibly can, but we will get some sim results out on my Twitter at Josh Engleman. And the number one contender for today's slate, 7,500, DeJounte Murray. We're just loaded with Spurs and Pacers today. Murray projected for 40.5, goal of 48. I think he hits the goal 28% of the time. Sorry, 20% of the time. He's in the optimal 37% of the time. Murray sees a monster usage bump when DeMar DeRozan is off the floor, and we've seen that going back to last year and previous times with the Spurs. So I've given him 26% usage. That's an 18.5, 7, and 6.5 line. Again, we know they're taking on Oklahoma City. You're not really worried about it. Normally a 1.05 fantasy point per minute. A big bump here. An additional 0.14. You guys can see that on the right side of the screen. So I'm projecting Murray like 1.2 fantasy points per minute. And at that point, he should be priced significantly higher than 7,500. He is underpriced for DeMar DeRozan being out of the lineup. And that makes him the best point guard option on the FanDuel slate and the best overall option. Out of anybody that you could roster, I think DeJounte Murray is the first guy in your lineup. Alrighty, guys, that will do it. Thank you for joining me here on this lovely Tuesday slate. Keep your eyes peeled for news throughout the day. Again, I'll be on the strategy show today with the boss man, Alex Baker, breaking down this slate. That'll be at 10 a.m. Eastern time, so if you want to catch that, that one will be out there. Good luck tonight, guys. I'll be back again tomorrow morning with another edition of the NBA DFS Contenders.